In today's video, we will be going through the 1999's American science fiction horror film Virus. Spoilers ahead, you have been warned. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up, comment on what your favorite part was, and subscribe to our channel for more. The movie opens with a large ship, academic Vladislav Volkov communicating with an orbiting space station named Mir. The opening scene suggests that it will be a great sci-fi movie. However, the main lead of this film, Jamie Lee Curtis, has said that this is the worst film in the world. So now you know. The people in the ship are roaming around, and it looks like they are on an important mission. A pretty lady is talking to the cosmonauts through an old-school video call in Russian. The movie then cuts to the scene inside the space station, which reveals someone playing chess with that pretty lady on the ship. Nice move, pun intended. A lady sees a spaceship-looking object and begins taking photos of it instead of warning others. Another man sees it and invites his friend to enjoy the scenery together. Like, guys, you're gonna die! The spaceship-looking figure comes towards them. As it turns out, it's an electrical surge that hits the spaceship. The lady on the Earth becomes concerned because all the audio-visual signals are gone, and her chess game is now incomplete. What a pity! She sees a disturbed visual of a cosmonaut frantically trying to say something, but the electrical surge gets transmitted by Mir and hits the ship, Volkov. The whole ship begins malfunctioning and electrical systems begin falling apart. They exclaim that somebody got access to their mainframe computer. Everybody in the ship collapses and starts screaming. Cut to 7 days later, a tugboat is shown tugging some cargo. Trapped in a typhoon, everybody in the cabin seems to be struggling, but the captain is busy chugging a bottle of beer, because yeah, that feels important. Our protagonist Kelly Foster is trying her best to get the ship out of the storm, but what can you expect when the boat is being led by an intoxicated captain? The engine room starts taking on water. Senior engineer Steve Baker and other workers start panicking. Steve tells the captain to release the cargo to prevent the ship sinking. The captain denies it as the cargo is uninsured because money is more important. He even points a gun at Steve, threatening him not to interfere. However, the storm takes control and the rope connecting the cargo snaps. They lose the cargo. In your face, Captain. Then they decide to take shelter in the eye of the storm. The following morning, a diver jumps into the water to gauge the situation. He informs them that they are indeed sinking. Kelly receives the signal of another ship nearby. They call the drunkard captain, who is ready to commit suicide. Captain postpones his program and they reach the ship, which turns out to be the Volkov. Surprisingly, even after all that, the ship is still standing. All of them, except 2 officers, board the Volkov searching for anyone who might be on board. They don't find a trace of anyone, not even the dead bodies. However, some bullet holes and traces of blood are seen. The cabin floor is littered with papers as if someone was trying to search for something. They study the ship and estimate its value as nearly $300 million. According to the captain, they can receive 10% if they tug the ship out, which is $30 million. Everybody agrees except Kelly, who doesn't entertain the idea, maybe because she is already too rich or she is the only one with common sense. Her logic is that it will be against the maritime laws if they find anybody alive in the ship except the intruders, including them, of course. Steve and Officer Squeaky are ordered to restore the power to the engines. Steve claims that he is suspicious about this as it seems too good to be true, which it is. Oops, a spoiler. Anyway, this whole video is a spoiler, so it's fine. The control panel seems like someone deliberately unplugged the power. They successfully restore power. The lights are on and the computer starts running. In the Sea Star, Hiko and J.W. Woods manage to tie a rope connecting the 2 ships. I don't know what makes them so confident about the same rope which snapped the previous day. Kelly is astonished to see the computers are running by themselves, which the Volkov crew had said before they collapsed, remember? The camera starts gazing at the captain and zooms in his name as if somebody has got its control. The anchor of the ship drops on its own straight through the deck of the Sea Star. The Sea Star slowly sinks. The captain orders Steve on the deck to rescue the 2 officers, Hiko and Woods. Woods comes out unharmed, but Hiko injures his leg due to the anchor. Steve informs Squeaky that they have lost the tug. Squeaky exclaims that the ship is automated and runs by itself, but Steve insists that there is somebody on board, except them. Somebody listen to him! Steve orders Squeaky to bolt the door of the engine room shut. The captain arrives on the deck, and after some argument with Steve, they agree to overlook their differences for the sake of $30 million. Injured Hiko is taken to the medical help room. Squeaky spots a spider-like robotic creature going inside a small opening. He follows it, crawling inside the opening filled with wires. The wires suddenly strangle him inside. I told you it was a bad idea, didn't I? There, Woods and Richie reach the ammunition room and start collecting some weapons. They wander around looking for their death maybe and start admiring some missiles. They find an ejection seat and a lot of blood in a room. Don't ask me which room because they are just entering any and every room. In the medical bay, Kelly starts treating Hiko. She even stitches his wounds. I wouldn't vouch for it as she is a navigator, not a doctor, but this is a movie and a really bad one at that. The captain asks Kelly, Hiko, and Steve what they are going to do with their share, i.e. $3 million. If only the captain knew not to count his eggs before they hatch. Someone comes out of the cupboard and starts shooting them. All of them survive, but the person collapses. They remove the mask and she seems to be a young lady, probably the only remaining crew of the Volkov. Her bag reveals some thermite grenades instead. After Steve gets no answer from Squeaky, he orders Richie and Woods to come back. But the two idiots continue exploring and get attacked by a weird robot. They shoot at it and manage to destroy it. Lucky them. The lady, whose name is Nadia, gains consciousness and starts shouting at them to cut off the power as they are in danger. When asked about it, she says something came from the space station Mir. The captain doesn't believe her. She runs towards the lower deck, afraid and nervous, but Kelly follows. She pacifies her. Nadia frantically explains that machines have taken over the ship and are controlling everything. She says that she and her captain Alexei were the last to survive. Kelly tries to convince the captain, but he thinks she is just out of her mind. Nadia is then taken to the bridge. Wood and Richie reach a room and see some automated robots working. They inform Steve about this. The two go further inside because their curious asses are not yet satisfied. Later, Woods wants to return, but Richie continues messing up with the dangerous machines. They get attacked by machines as expected and deserved. They have a close call and Woods is hurt in the chest. They meet Steve in the engine room. They are awestruck to discover that the door is welded shut. Someone starts firing at the three of them. In the cabin, the captain threatens to kill Nadia if she doesn't give him answers. He completely denies the alien theory. I think he should have been the first one to die instead of Squeaky. Richie, Woods, and Steve arrive with the robot-like figure that had attacked them earlier. Nadia exclaims that it is her captain. Like, what is going on? One captain is a drunkard and the other one a robot. Nadia explains that the electrical surge from the mirror took over the ship's computers. It scans computers to collect information and build workshops to convert the previous crew into cyborgs. The seemingly dead cyborg they brought is Nadia's husband, the ship's captain, Alexei. He was killed by the machines and converted into a cyborg. The rest of the crew deserted the ship. Only the husband-wife duo stayed on the ship, probably expecting a nice honeymoon. She says if you cut the cables, the power source is obstructed and the robots die. The captain is still not convinced. Woods is like, somebody give me attention, I have a freaking nail pricking my chest. Kelly goes to him and does just that. The ship heads towards another storm. Yes, guys, yet another one. It begins shaking violently and the crew members brace. They decide to go to the engine room and cut open the door as the steering isn't responding. All of them, including Nadia, head towards the engine room. Midway, the ship steers itself 20 degrees off course. They see Squeaky, who is now converted into a cyborg. Squeaky gives relief to Woods' pain once and for all by tearing a hole through his body. Then he, along with another giant robot, attacks the crew and they hide in the communications room. They can't ask for help now because every transmitter is now destroyed, just like my brain cells after watching this movie. When Richie starts announcing Mayday, the captain stops him as he doesn't want to lose the $3 million, you know. Kelly is like, enough is enough. She punches him and removes the captain from charge. Finally, Richie communicates with the machines via a computer. A computerized voice tells him that the human species is like a virus and should be finished. It also says that it wants spare parts from human bodies, and then the communication gets terminated. Richie goes nuts out of fear and confusion like any other normal human being would. He shoots at Squeaky and flees. He goes to a room and kills the spider-like robot. Using its parts, he builds a weird-looking machine that will supposedly help him escape. Ignore him, he's a weirdo. While the remaining crew leaves, the captain remains there and starts communicating with the machines. He introduces himself as the dominant life form. He promises to help them by bringing the ship to any port they want. The machines call him to a room. He goes there and sees a harrowing scene of machines operating half-torn dead bodies, converting them into cyborgs. It was disturbing for me to watch the captain not even get slightly disturbed. The captain informs them that his crew is conspiring to sink the ship. Nadia leads the rest to the computer room, but the computer has moved elsewhere. They roam here and there in the darkness and yet again get attacked. Nadia suggests a safe shelter in the antenna control room, but it's not easy to reach there. They are still in the storm. Are they in the Bermuda Triangle or what? Suddenly water hits and Kelly gets swept away. Hiko manages to help her, but he himself gets lost in the typhoon. Kelly, Nadia, and Steve reach the room and start looking at a map. They see that the ship is heading to Lord Howe Island. Nadia assumes that the machines want to take control of a British intelligence station to take control of the world military. They get a response to Richie's mayday but can't respond. They then decide to flood the hold with fuel and detonate it, hence sinking the ship. They are attacked by the captain, who is now a cyborg. Nadia fits a grenade in its body and Steve throws it into a small trapdoor where it explodes. They then leave from there. They run into Richie, who says that he has his own plan. The three start filling the tank with fuel and set a time bomb with a timer of 15 minutes at the brim of the tank. A giant robot attacks them again. I have lost the count, guys, forgive me. Steve and Kelly are knocked unconscious while Kelly falls into the pool of fuel. She screams, finding herself among rotting dead bodies. Later, the robot begins torturing her, tying her to the pole. The robot asks her where the detonator is. Richie comes and rescues her. The robot is so stubborn, it stands up and destroys the room. Consequently, the debris collapses upon Richie and Steve while Nadia and Kelly manage to flee. The robot chases them. This film seems like a glorified Tom and Jerry, doesn't it? Steve stands up and finds Richie on the verge of dying. Richie tells him that the missile room is the way out and dies like any cliched movie. The robot finds Nadia and Kelly and shows that it defused the bomb. Nadia sacrifices herself by shooting a flare gun at nearby gas tanks to kill the machine. Steve and Kelly are reunited and they reach the missile room. There, they find the ejection seat Richie was talking about. Steve urges Kelly to use the seat as it is made for one person only, but Kelly refuses. Titanic vibes, guys. Both of them manage to escape safely. The ejection mechanism triggers an explosion in the ship and the energy dissipates into seawater. The explosion is spotted by a US naval ship which rescues them both in a helicopter. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like the video if you enjoyed it and subscribe to the channel to see more of these movie summaries.